start with a brief statement from Coach, and then we'll take questions as normal. Just raise your hand. We'll come around the room and get to as many people as we can.
Really excited about obviously the outcome of the game. I thought that the team, even though we had our ups and downs, what a freaking team win, unbelievable. Now we get an opportunity to come back home for homecoming versus Boston College and Jeff Hafley, a team we have a lot of history with, and we're looking forward to having the old timers come back, so to speak. I'm looking at the internet and I see all the guys that are coming back. It's going to be a nice crowd, and we're looking forward to getting back to the Dome and playing another game at home. Questions?
Start with Mark.
Coach, when you had lost so many close games in a row, and it looked like this was going to be another one, and then that happens, can you gauge what that does for a team and a season?
You know, it was almost like two halves. You went in at halftime, there was one feeling. You came in after the game, there was another. And, I said it a long time ago, I just think there's something about this team. If we can survive, if the chapter is finished the right way, I think it's going to really lead to something. I can't promise you it's going to be W's and L's every week, but so far so good. We've had our battles, but we're still together, and if we stay together, we're going to be strong.
Stephen, the Russian.
Garrett's elusiveness in the pocket has done wonders for the offense, right? Everyone kind of looks good. How much of that did you know he could do before you decided to start him in week 4? And how much of this has you kind of been learning with everyone else, those unique abilities or different abilities?
You see, assistant coaches see things, coordinators see things, strength coaches see things in different aspects of guys working out. For me, they can tell me things, but I'm like, okay, well, I have to see it. Everyone told me Zaire Franklin was going to be my captain. I'll say, we'll see. 7 days later, he was basically the captain, So you have to see it with your own eyes. But it's very difficult to gauge those things when quarterbacks aren't live. That's the hard thing. You can say, we're going to blow the whistle when anybody gets close to any quarterback. So every tackle is a 100% sure tackle, and nobody gets an opportunity to break away or make a move or anything like that. So that's where it's difficult to be able to judge what people can and can't do in games at that one position. But, he's shown some being elusive, and he's shown some toughness, and, he looks like he's kind of dynamic in that role.
Coach, how have you seen Damian Alford kind of grow over the past few weeks, and how have you seen him take advantage of his size in particular?
Damian is, I'm not making this up, I was literally thinking about him driving to work this morning. And he is the classic, you're going to love this one. Okay, here we go. He is the classic movie Bambi. Okay, he's the classic where you got little Bambi and mom's taking care of him, right, and showing him the ropes, and then mom tells Bambi to run, and mom doesn't make it, and Bambi gets to the forest, and then the big buck takes Bambi underneath his wings, and Bambi grows into a big buck. Well, we don't have that yet. We still got Bambi with mom, and we're looking forward to when he starts growing some horns, and because there's positives and negatives when they're that young and they're out there, but in a lot of ways. But he's growing and he's learning, and he doesn't even know what he's capable of yet. But hopefully someday he does.
What goes into that learning? Is it just repetition?
There's a lot of stuff to it. I mean, there's as many good plays out there. There's bad plays, but the good and the bad has to offset, and right now it is.
Chris and then Tommy.
You guys have played 5 consecutive down to the final whistle games. Is it any more difficult for a team to bounce back the next week when they've really poured it out the week before? And what does it say about this team that they've done it like 5 straight?
The super seniors and this team, there's something about them. It's something about them. I really believe a lot of last year has a lot to do with it too. Just the things that were said, the things that were written, the things that were assumed, that just it doesn't sit well with them. It's different when you're older. Like, I kind of knew what we were going to go through. I kind of knew what it was going to look like, but I knew that if we could survive it, there'll be better days ahead. And hopefully this is the start of better days ahead. Can't promise it, but I'm telling you the foundation is there.
Is it tougher though to get up the next week, like just emotionally? Is there like usually an emotional bounce back, or is that something we make up and it's not? You know,
Here's the thing about playing football. You've got 12 games. If you do really good, it's 13. You don't have a lot of time to mope or feel bad about something. You really got to try to flush things and get going to the next week. If not, the season's over. We're 2/3 done. You know, we're sitting at 4-4. We're 2/3 done. We got 5 weeks left because we got a bye, and then it's gone. And what you do is going to matter whether you get an opportunity to do 13. I think it's a little bit, they have to rebound, they have to come back, and I think it's a lot easier, obviously, when you win than it is when you lose. But I thought they've been doing a fantastic job even in the losses.
Tommy, then Dean.
Hey, Coach, when people watch the highlights of that game, they're likely going to see the Courtney Jackson touchdown, and they'll see the Damian Alford touchdown at the end of the game. But those 2 touchdown drives, the defensive stuff, there were so many, it seemed like little plays. Like if that didn't happen, the result doesn't come out SU's way. What sticks out to you when you were watching film of that? Was there something on the O-line, on the D-line that really caught your eye?
I really thought it was the faith, the faith of the team. When you think about 2 successful drives, 5 minutes and 25 seconds, both ending up in a touchdown, with a kick. You guys, you talk about, there's a lot of things that happen, good and bad, but I don't use that word. One of the things that had me on edge, really had me on edge, was our decision, okay, to kick away to Virginia Tech. What was it, 19 seconds left? We're kicking away deep to their returner. And I'm going, golly, I'm thinking, should we squib this? Should we pooch kick it and make them fair catch it? Kick away to Virginia Tech with 19 seconds left to a returner? I mean, if this doesn't go well, holy moly, I can see the pins already writing. But the guys said they could do it. And that ball went up there. It stayed up there for a long time. The guy got it. He bounces to the field, and Luke Benson makes a stop and was inside the 20, like the 15-yard line. I want to say that's kind of right. That is as big as a play as any. Then when you think about what happened with the next 19 seconds, and the ball ended up touching somebody's hand in the end zone, and we win the game. You push that play up, or you take that guy to the 50, it's a totally different game. And a lot of people don't. I mean, that was, like I said, I don't use the S word, but that was woo. I mean, my hair standing up right now. I'm like, oh man. But it's one of those decisions you have to make, because if you want to win, you got to do that. And I'm not saying I'm going to make that decision all the time, but in that situation, based off of what was going on, I thought it was the right call, and it was a gamble, but it was the right call. There was a lot of stuff like that in the game, a lot.
Dean and then Nate.
Coach, what are the biggest improvements in Garrett's throwing game specifically you've noticed since he took over the starting role?
Okay, I told you guys I thought he threw better. He throws better in practice than what you guys saw him throw early in the game. I think he's okay. There's things he's got to work on. He doesn't look like Robin Hood, with the bow in an archer, the arrow in his bow and stuff like that. But he'll get better. He does some things. I think he throws one of those balls where guys have a lot of chances to catch it too. He throws a very catchable ball where if it's not exactly right, guys can make it an adjustment to make him look a little bit better, even though we've had some drops out there. So I think that's one of the bigger things.
What have you noticed about his late game kind of leadership in back-to-back weeks now?
He likes to win. He likes to keep it on his shoulders or other guys' shoulders, and he gives guys opportunities. He's aggressive in nature.
So the O-line this year, at times you've had your Virginia depth, and to our eyes, the production has not seemed to drop off to the extent that maybe it had in the past couple seasons. Have you done anything differently, or did you learn anything over the past 2 years about developing depth, building depth, that you can explain why the O-line, even when you're going into your 6th or 7th guy, is still cranking out pretty good rushing yards?
Again, I don't think it's so much a different in the development. I think there's a mental aspect to them that are different. They want to do good. They want to have those positive articles written about them. They care about one another, and when one guy goes down, the other guy doesn't want to let the group down. I also think that Tucker is better. I think that there's been some mistakes. I shouldn't say just as many. There's been some mistakes made, but individuals have corrected mistakes by other people's efforts, which doesn't put the microscope so much on them.
Anything about building that unit, though, that you corrected from, say, 2-3 years ago? That you have a lot of young guys, but
We have
you
an extremely young football team.
And when you have to turn over that unit like you had to do after 18,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like you're in a position to better succeed?
We're gonna right now we're worrying about Boston College, and then we'll play the next game after that. But we lose one offensive lineman out of the 2 deep.
Mark and then Steven.
Dino, I don't want to be that guy, but if that
You do.
I really don't. But if that play doesn't happen at the end of the game, we're probably talking about special teams most of the day. So,
Mhm.
so what are you doing to address that? Are you reconsidering maybe a coach this season for the rest of the season?
That doesn't work. That's technically doesn't work. That's something that has to be handled when it's all said and done. But the big thing is it's not so much, you guys, it's not really technical stuff. It's mistakes made by young people that I'm not going to call out in a situation like this that have been told. But my big thing with the coaches is, and you guys, I'm not slamming my coaches. This is what coaches do. To me, this is how I look at a football game. A football game is an exam. It's a physical exam. And you have your instructor and you have a TA, okay? And the assistant coaches are TAs, which means they can't give you the answer, but they sure in the hell can remind you of things before the physical play happens. Don't forget to remind them of this. Don't forget, hey, if you get this problem, you want to answer it, because you can't physically go out there and do it for them. I want my coaches to do a better job with reminders, and then I want those guys to go out there and do a better job of execution. It's not rocket science out there. I can tell you exactly why the kick got blocked. We all know on our football team, every player knows why the kick got blocked. Okay, and everybody knows who was wrong, and he knows what he did wrong. Okay, and he had done it right numerous times, but on that play he did it wrong, and they took advantage of it. Okay, we had a situation where a guy got the ball and could have fell down with the ball, but he picked up and run with the ball, and the ball got ripped out. Okay, and now you had another situation where they picked it up and we couldn't cover the guy and they got 2 points. It's part of the process of growing up. When the older guys do it, you can give them a look like you're the oldest son, you know what you're supposed to do when we're not at home, and you and I are going to have a talk about this. When there's the youngest son and they really hardly know their name, you got to treat it a little bit different. So, are we happy with it? No. Am I happy with it? No. But I'm willing to keep working at it because I know it's going to get better, and I know those guys are giving maximum effort.
How concerned are you with Andre?
I'm not going to talk about individuals like that. I don't do that stuff, Mark. I'm not going to do stuff like that.
Steven, and then Mayor Hunt.
You guys are fairly banged up through 8 weeks, but I think you kind of expect that with a slate like this.
With the bye being so late?
Yeah. Yeah. Boston College, despite having their bye, certainly banged up too. How close are the key guys to coming back? You got 3 offensive linemen. Elmore didn't finish the game. Garrett Williams. Who could be back for DC?
Okay, watch. You already know. I haven't seen them yet. They were all at the team meeting. Okay, Chris was right there. I think Garrett was up there because he's not a senior. We're going to have to see. And I'll probably know a lot more by the end of today.
Is Tisdale the only one that's maybe long-term?
Darius?
Yeah.
I would hope to get Darius back. I'm not saying this week. I mean, I would hope to get him back before the season. Well, yeah, I know. I would hope to get him back. Yeah.
Connor and then Calvin.
Talk about the specifics, what happened at the end of the second quarter, having used both of those timeouts, what was really going on.
Well, here's the deal, okay? I'm gonna look at the cup being half full. I look at that situation, it was not clean, obviously, and the second timeout was to clean it up, okay? Because we had an opportunity to do something that was it would have been really, really good, okay? After that, we came to a situation where we wanted to kick a field goal, and the field goal was no good. I think that there were some mishaps. I think there were some miscommunications. Obviously, that's the reason why I went with the second timeout. I still think that those same individuals and coaches that weren't so good on those two plays, the last 5 minutes and 25 seconds was unbelievable on the way they communicated and the way they got things done to get those 2 touchdowns. And not to take away the defensive stop in between, which could have been extremely second-guessed if we never got the ball back, and to be able to use all the timeouts on defense and still be able to execute that 1-minute drive with no timeouts. So there's good and there's bad, and I think there was more good than bad. We're going to celebrate the good, and we're going to work doggone hard on the bad.
You had guys talking about the crowd in Blacksburg, obviously. Was there a lot of issues with miscommunication between Garrett and the sidelines? Is that what happened?
No, there was a lot of miscommunication with the center and Garrett because they couldn't hear. We had to move, Aaron Service to tackle because of the injuries. Josh Ialoa came back in at center, and now you're talking about, and those guys work together in practice, but Josh has never been in a situation like Lane Field with the game on the line. The noise level was unbelievable, and I said this after the game. It reminded me of our fans. The timing of the noise was A+. I'm like, these were no rookie fans. They knew what in the heck was going on, and they made it extremely difficult. We had a snap. The quarterback was trying to make a call and touch the center, and we had a snap actually go on the ground that could have been disastrous. But luckily, Garrett was heady enough to get on it. You didn't see any bickering or yelling or pointing at the center or pointing back at the quarterback. They lined back up. They did it again. We won the game. I mean, that's what families do. They may bicker, they may argue, but they never pull apart.
Calvin and Alex.
Coach, can you speak to how big was that return by Trevor Payne late in the fourth?
Oh, man. You guys, you talk about the young guys, this team is really, really young. And Trevor did that stuff in high school, and he was one of those guys where we're like, he's small, I said, but he keeps doing stuff. When you watch him on tape, we say the same thing. He's small, but he just keeps doing stuff against bigger guys. And you can just see his growth. You can see him, he's starting to show some stuff. I mean, and he almost seems like a Sean Riley, Irv Phillips combined together with maybe a little bit more foot speed than both of them. And man, he's really, really grown, and I can't wait to see what he ends up, because I mean, he's really doing some stuff. You picked a good one. That return was big, and we made some blocks for him, but you can see that he's growing and growing as a returner in both aspects of the game, and a receiver with the play that he made against Clemson.
Alex.
Dino, I know you knew that Sean Tucker was a player. You recruited him, obviously, but did you ever realize it or know that he would be this good and become, as of right now, the best running back in college football?
All that stuff, I think Sean's really good. You media, you guys get to decide who's the best and stuff. We're just glad that we have him, and we think he's good. We thought he was a good player, but you never know. I mean, he didn't have all the stars. It'd be interesting to see what we ranked him and how we wrote about him coming in compared to everybody else. The one thing I'll always there's 2 things I want to remind everyone of, okay, is one, watching a Super Bowl and have them talk about how many people in the Super Bowl on both teams are 5 stars and 4 stars, and how many are 0 to 3 stars. And there's always more 0 to 3 stars than there are 4 and 5 stars. And then the second thing is how many good players aren't recruited at all. Jimmy Garoppolo had 0 stars. And I went to the bathroom up here last night and he was on TV playing. And he makes more than all of us combined in the room. Would you guys agree? Yeah, I would. So it's one of those deals where it's just really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. You think they're going to be good, but then you got to get them to college and you got to see. Sometimes as they're growing up, they go down the wrong path. And sometimes while they're growing up, they may not have been on a certain path and they get on this path and then it elevates them to another level that you would have never experienced or never thought they could get to. But we really thought he was good and we're happy that he's still developing.
Right here back.
Talk about recruiting. What's it like going head-to-head with Boston College this year for prospects in the Northeast?
It's same thing with Rutgers and Penn State and everybody. We're all going after the same players. And with the way recruiting is nowadays, the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that, the first time we played Clemson, I think when we beat Clemson and they were really, really ranked really high, they had D linemen from the Northeast really good players from the Northeast on their team. And with the ACC, when we came into the ACC, there's teams that are up, down south that we're also competing against our best players from the Northeast. And you throw in, Michigan and Ohio State and everybody that goes to New Jersey and all the, the Eastern Seaboard. And it's very, very competitive. So we compete with those guys, but we compete with a lot of other people as well. And the game is a rival game. We get it. And it's recruiting battles as well. But right now, it's just a way for us to get one more win in the ACC and win a game at home.
Last 3 ringers, Tommy and then Chris.
Dino, you had 3 weeks of practice with those 3-point losses. Coming out after this one, does that light a new fire? Are you seeing something different this week, getting a win like that or something?
I think it lightens the load mentally a little bit, but I think the work ethic needs to be exactly the same. I thought we put in good work, the 3 weeks before that. And if you look at the performance on the field, we can say this and that and plus this or minus that, it could be different. But I didn't think that it was a loser's effort out there on the field. I think everybody was trying very hard to win and doing everything in their power. There's frustration about not winning, but I thought the effort was true.
But when you say there's maybe a different energy or guys joking a little bit more?
I would say that maybe they're putting on their happy face a little bit, but we haven't practiced them yet this week.
Last 2, Chris and then Steven to finish us.
Where have you seen the most growth from your wide receivers? Is it getting off press? Is it sort of knowing where to go in scramble drill, or where do you think they've grown the most? I really want to I'm going to give you something here. I don't think it's any of those things. I think they realize there's a vacuum. And they realize there's opportunities to fill it. And everybody is working extremely hard from their standpoint and from a group standpoint to fill it. And I think so far, so good, they've been able to do that.
Last question, Steven.
The defense got the stop that he needed against Virginia Tech. I got to think over the course of the game, there's some stuff that they'll want to try and clean up. Where do you see there that could kind of be improved on?
Well, Coach White does a fantastic job. The defensive staff does a fantastic job. They understand exactly what I expect, and I think they expect the exact same things as well. They will go in, they will look at the tape, they will make the necessary adjustments. We had conversations last night. There's certain things we need to anticipate, even though maybe people don't do those things, based off of our knowledge of our defense and offenses. So they'll do a good job. I have complete faith in them, and can't wait to see what kind of performance we're going to put on the field this week.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.